So there are a million videos out there about Tbilisi, but what is different about this one is that I'm going to give you tips about where to stay, how many days to go to Tbilisi for, what to see in the outskirts of Tbilisi, and the best thing, where to eat. And will you find vegetarian food? Good question. Let's check it out. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel Just Go with Amreen. So today in this video we are exploring Tbilisi, where to go, how to go, when is the best time to visit Tbilisi and how many days should you go to Tbilisi for. So without further ado, let's dive right into it. In today's episode we are going to Tbilisi, but we are going from Kutaisi to Tbilisi. Now there are two ways of doing that. One, you can take the car, driver, guide that you have, and it takes about 4 hours. You can also opt for a train, which is gorgeous ride, beautiful scenes and all of that, extremely economical, a better option if you are a budget traveler. I have taken both options. I have come to Georgia multiple times, so I can tell you that both options are excellent. With my group, we obviously took the car. When I was solo over here, I took the train, and it takes about 4 hours. It takes the same time. There is no difference except the money part of it. There are no major buses, public transportations, intercity connecting buses really. So there is something called Matrishka, which is actually a small van, minibus you can say, where people are cramped up all together. It almost feels like you are hitchhiking or sharing a cab or a van and going from city to city. It is not the most convenient, comfortable way of traveling, especially if you have luggage. I have like 2 small bags and that's fine, but if you have like luggage, oh, this is not the way to go. So I do not recommend that. Either you take a private transfer or you take a train. I don't just host tours, but I also organize private personalized trips for families and groups of friends and things like that myself. And I know that there is like super cheap ways of visiting this country. You stay at a hotel which is technically 4-star and technically in the city center. But here's what you need to know. Go to Google Maps. You need to plug in the name of your hotel and Freedom Square and see the distance, walking distance, because everything is in Freedom Square and around Freedom Square. Even the old town, old city is just 10-minute walk away from the Freedom Square. So make sure that your hotel is within 500 meters of the Freedom Square. I highly recommend the hotel Radius. I stayed there. I have kept my groups there multiple times that I have come to Georgia. That is my go-to hotel, Radius Hotel Tbilisi. Make a note of that. So depending on where you are coming from, or maybe you have just landed in Tbilisi and staying in Tbilisi and you want to do these day trips. So you could do a day trip to something called Tbilisi and the town called Gori. These are cave towns. They are very, very ancient and it's worth a visit. You will love it. If the weather is right, do not visit them when it's snowing, of course, but when you visit them in autumn or spring or summer even, it's a very nice place to visit. Another thing that you can do, the second day, so that is a 1 full day trip. It's about an hour or so away from Tbilisi. The other thing you can do the second day is a half-day trip, something called Misketa, and that's the ancient old capital of Georgia. Then you go to Jawari Monastery. You do the Chronicles of Georgia. Do not forget to go behind the Chronicles of Georgia to get the excellent views of the lake, river. I'm not even sure what it is, but it is stunning. And then come back to Tbilisi and do a half-day city tour of the old town in Tbilisi. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that you need 2 full days in Tbilisi if you want to do all this, and then you can decide to whether you want to go to Gudori, Batumi, Kaketi, Signagi, all that kind of stuff. You can decide that after you finish these 2 whole days in Tbilisi. So point is that you need a minimum of 2 nighs. If you're planning to stay in Gudori or Batumi or Kutaisi or even in Kaketi or whatever, then you at least need to spend 2 nights in Tbilisi. Of course, if you're planning to only do day trips from Tbilisi, then the number of nights in Tbilisi increase. The last thing I want to cover is where to eat. Now, three things actually. Indians who want to eat Indian food when they're traveling, there's an abundance of that in Tbilisi. There are restaurants in Batumi and there are Indian restaurants in Kutaisi as well. You will find a lot of that in Tbilisi. If that is priority to you, then of course Tbilisi has a lot of options. They are not in the city center at all. You will have to take cabs to visit these restaurants to eat in them. The cab app you have to download is called Bolt. Don't try to stop a cab on the street. They will scam you. So Bolt is the best thing to do. If you are into halal food, there are a few options of that over here as well. There are many more options of halal food in Batumi because the population in Batumi is 60% Muslims. But you'll find a few options, Turkish restaurants and things like that, halal options. Even the Indian restaurants are halal options in Tbilisi. So you can give that a go. If you're a vegetarian, you have a lot of options in Georgian cuisine itself for veg. It's not as difficult to find veg food in Georgian cuisine as it is difficult in the Azerbaijani cuisine. It is not as difficult. Georgian cuisine does have vegetarian options. I'm so glad they've taken that into consideration. And so my group were 90% veg and they did not face any issue. Non-vegetarians, of course, you know, the food in Georgia is very meat oriented. So some of the restaurants I would recommend, this is particularly for Georgian food, Georgian cuisine, is there's this place called Tiflis. That's really good. Salobi Bia, that's also really good. Kala, Kala, yes, exactly. Kala is also a very nice restaurant. There are a few restaurants lined up near the sulfur baths, close to the old town with a view of the cable car. It's a very nice place and there are a few restaurants, Georgian restaurants lined up there as well. So do not miss any of these. If you are interested in eating authentic Georgian cuisine, then make a stop to one of these restaurants. If you are a picky vegetarian, then of course you'll have issues because the kind of vegetables that are existing in the vegetarian food are mainly eggplant, mushrooms, lots of cheese. If you're a vegan, you can have an issue. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Nightlife, I didn't get to explore much of it, but there is a lot of it. In fact, in Tbilisi, in the evenings, the city comes alive. There is music going on the streets. It's phenomenal. It's a very nice vibe. And in terms of shopping, well, I didn't do any, but I have explored that option before, and the brands that exist here are the same brands that exist in Dubai, and the prices of those brands are very similar to the prices of the brands in Dubai, so you get the idea. Don't go shopping. Tbilisi, if you like this vlog, you know what to do. Give me a big fat thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Hit that bell icon so you don't miss any of my upcoming Georgian episodes. I will see you guys next week. Until then, take care guys. Bye. Cheers. Mwah.